Hi and welcome back to One Wellness Online. We're going to flow through a post-run stretch sequence, so a sequence of stretches that you can do after you go back from a run, just to stretch out any tightness in the muscles or to ease off and cool down following your run. So all you'll need is a bit of space, maybe a mat, and yeah, you're good to go. So the first thing I like to do when I get back from a run is to come straight into a forward fold. So just bringing your feet about hip width apart and just standing on your mat. We're going to start to hinge forwards from the hips and just let the arms drop down towards the mat, towards your toes. You can start out with a little bend in the knee if the back of the legs are feeling quite tight, and just let the head and neck just hang between the shoulders. Taking a few breaths here, and you just want to try and work into straightening the legs. So that space behind the knees, into the hamstrings and through the glutes and the lower back. Maybe you want to bring your hands behind your ankles or your calves and just start to very gently, each time you exhale, just pull a little bit deeper into the stretch. And then slowly start to roll through the spine, just coming back to your standing position, maybe take a little roll of the shoulders as well. Next for the quads. So you can either stand near a wall so you've got something to hold on to, or you can challenge your balance. But we're going to lift into the right leg and just take a little hold onto the top of the right foot. And I'll try and align the right knee to the left knee, so keeping them close together. If that doesn't feel possible, you can get some kind of strap or anything else, hold onto the wall and hook a little strap, maybe a resistance band or even your belt from your dressing gown. You can hoop it around your foot and then just hold it here and pull it in. So wherever you are, either with a prop or without, this is your quad stretch. Either holding on for balance or challenging your balance. To get a deeper stretch, you might want to start to press that away and just come into a bit of a balance here. So inspired by a dancer's pose in yoga. Or you can just bring it back. So that's your nice little quad stretch on the right. Let's switch sides. So releasing the right foot down and then taking that same bind on the left side, either with a prop, so a strap or something, and then you can always hold on to the wall as well. Or find your balance and work into that quad stretch. Again, if you want to challenge your balance a little bit more, hinging slightly forwards and coming into a bit of a dancer's pose. Just try and keep your knees aligned next to one another and aim to hold the stretch for about 30 seconds or about 3 breaths. Okay, slowly releasing that leg down and just wiggle out the legs. Now coming into a single leg hamstring stretch, stepping one foot forward, so let's start on the left, and you can keep your back foot behind you but at a slight angle. So just kicking the heel inwards, but keeping your hips and your shoulders facing forwards. Start to hinge forwards. So just as we did in our forward fold, but this time you're just folding over one leg. So as you inhale, create a bit of space. As you exhale, start to fold over that left leg. Now if your hands are quite far from the floor and it just feels too far, you could get maybe 2 blocks if you've got them, or 2 books. Just something that you can hold in both hands that are roughly the same height, and you can just prop yourself up. If you've got any home gym equipment, so like a set of dumbbells, you can pop them here and just use them. Let me demonstrate. So here's some that I made earlier. So a set of dumbbells or stacked up books, if you've got some encyclopedias handy, or a set of yoga bricks on the tall end. So here, taking 3 breaths, each time you inhale, create a bit of space, nice straight spine, and then exhale, folding over the left leg. You want to feel like you're pulling the right hip forward, sending the left hip back, just squaring them off. And if you can, bringing your arms down towards the mat and really melting the chest down against that left leg. For one more breath. And then slowly rising from that fold and stepping the feet together. And then taking it on the opposite side, so stepping forward with the right this time, a little angle to the back foot. And both legs nice and straight as you inhale, just hinging forwards, finding that same stretch. Maybe the hands flip down and find your props, or they come straight down to the mat. Try and create that level, nice straight spine. And then exhale as you fold. And the goal here is to literally just feel the stretch all the way up through the back of the hamstring, so the back of the leg, the hamstring, the glute. Don't worry about how far you're getting into the stretch, it's just about how it feels. And taking one more breath. Really working into your hamstrings. And then inhale, rising up, stepping the feet together, and just coming to standing. Okay, the next one is a yoga squat, or just a deep mobility squat. And it's going to start to work into your hips. So feet about hip width or slightly wider, and you're going to start to sit into a squat, taking your hands down to the mat, just in between your feet. So if you need to angle your toes out slightly, then go ahead. And you're just shifting your weight between your heels and your toes and trying to work your heels down to the mat. And this is just a really good stretch into your hips and working on that mobility into your squat. Try and lengthen through the spine so you're sitting up as tall as you can. So if there's any rounding through the spine, just try and draw the chest up and the shoulders back. Hands can just be by your heart center, and you can maybe bring your elbows in towards your knees if you're down in your full squat, and just lightly just start to press the knees away. Find a bit of stillness here in your yoga squat, and maybe try and hold it for a few breaths, just breathing into that stretch. If at any point you need to come out, just bringing the hands down to the mat and lifting up through to your forward fold. Maybe popping back into your yoga squat. Just feeling a nice stretch. And then stretching into the legs and just wiggle them out. Alright, for your next stretch, we're going to come down onto the mat and just lie back so that we can target and work into the glutes. So just rolling back into a lay position and just bringing your knees in towards your chest. We're going to cross the left ankle over the right knee and then start to just lift into the right leg. You can have it as a tabletop or even straighten it up towards the ceiling, and then just going to lace the hands through around the right hamstring. You can bend into the knee if you want to. So hopefully you can get your spine nice and flat to your mat. Just relax the shoulders down, and then you're just sending that left knee away. Don't worry if that feels too much. You can rest the right foot down and just cross the left ankle across the right thigh and work on it there. So slightly less intense because you've got a bit more space, and maybe start to press that left knee out and away. So this is just going to help open up into the hips and stretch out the glutes. So just allowing both knees to fall to your right side. So you're going to start to get a twist into the spine. Pulling the left knee up slightly, maybe taking the right leg out straight. And then crossing over. So you can take the left arm out to the side and find an openness into the chest. And then inhale, bring it all back through. So just hugging the knees in, maybe rocking it out side to side. So just crossing the right ankle over the left thigh and working into that right hip this time. Maybe threading the arms through behind the left hamstring and just lifting up, or you can roll back and rest the shoulders down. And if that's too much, you can rest the left foot down as well. And just holding here for 3 breaths. So getting a nice stretch through the right glute into the right hip and just holding here. And then coming into that twist like before. So letting the knees fall to the left side, nice and gently, taking the right arm out to the side and feeling a twist. Maybe taking the left leg out straight on the mat. And just getting a stretch through the right glute and into the chest. Inhale, bring it all back through. Just hugging the knees in towards the chest and rocking it out. And then from here, just taking a couple of rocks up and down the spine, gaining momentum until you can land into a seat at the top of your mat, or you can just find your own way up to a seat as well. And then taking the legs out straight, we're going to come into a seated fold. So trying to stack into your sit bones, so sitting nice and tall, your spine nice and straight, and just take a roll of the shoulders as you inhale, sweep the arms overhead. And then as you exhale, starting to fold forward like this piece of string, pulling your chest and keeping your back as straight as you can, taking your hands down towards your toes or behind the ankles or calves, and just finding a stretch. So same as the standing variation, this is starting to work into the back of the legs and the lower back. If this might feel really different to the standing version, obviously because gravity is not helping your lower body fold. You could always swing your resistance band or a belt over your feet and use that to pull a little bit deeper. But if you are able to hook your hands around your feet, you can just gently start to bend at the elbows and use a bit of a leverage to sink a little bit deeper into the stretch. And again, just holding this for 3 breaths. And trying to work as straight into the spine as you can. If you want to as well, you can always bob a little cushion or a rolled up blanket underneath your knees just for an extra bit of support if you want to. And then inhale as you slowly start to roll up through the spine. And you can just bring the knees in towards your chest and hug them in. And then to close this short and snappy post-run stretch, we've got butterfly stretch to finish. So bringing the palms of the feet together, bringing the hands to the ankles and working into your hips. So by this point, you're knackered from your run. You've spent 5 or 10 minutes stretching off, depending on how long you've spent in each stretch. And this is a lovely one to just close off the practice as you're sat on your living room floor or wherever you're stretching. So from here, starting to work into that stretch as you allow the knees to drop down, just sitting up nice and tall, and maybe even slightly kind of pulsing the knees down, making it quite a dynamic stretch, or finding that openness in the hips and allowing them to fall to the mat. Don't worry, wherever you are in the stretch, you just want to start to feel it in the hips. You maybe even want to bob your elbows onto your knees and just gently apply like a little bit of weight, not necessarily pushing down on them, but just leveraging the body forwards. And if you are a little bit deeper into your butterfly stretch, you can maybe start to incorporate a little bit of a fold. So walking the hands forward from your butterfly and melting the chest down towards the feet. You can always play around with the positioning as well, bringing the feet closer into you or a little bit further out, and just see how it feels different for a fold or just for a hold. And then by this point, you can just stay in this for a couple of breaths, or just while you check your phone post-run, or check in with whoever you're at home with, grab a glass of water. And yeah, this is a really good sequence to just get into the habit of doing after each time you run or do a workout, like a leg workout, and you want to stretch off the hamstrings and the quads. But yes, I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.